staff to evaluate a game like that when you only run 44 plays? Felt like it was half of what you guys would typically run.
Sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's always comes down to the same thing. Like, how hard do you play? How well do we execute? My thing is, like, and Coach Bell always preaches too, like, how efficient are we? Right? It don't matter if you play 20 plays or you play 75 plays. Like, are you out there executing at an efficient level and playing as hard as you can? So that's kind of all we were looking for, obviously, in that game, and taking advantage of the opportunities that you're given. Because at the end of the day, you can't control what happens in the game. Obviously, you can't control. Our defense has 3 pick sixes and 2 other picks. But man, when we got out of the field, I thought our guys went out there and executed really hard, and it was fun to watch.
What makes it seems like Ben Sauls just can't stop any field goals. What's it like to continue to see him succeed as he's done so far?
Well, say that last part again. Sorry.
What's it like to continue to see him just? It seems like every time he steps up to when it goes in the field, he's automatic. What's it like seeing him?
Yeah, it's fun. And at the end of the day, man, as a coach, like, you're so happy for him. Like, you love coaching all the guys. I love Ben. It's been so fun getting to be around him for 9 months, and I'm so proud for him because he's doing that, right? Like, because that's what he and I talked about from the moment I took this job, about how good he can be, and he knows that. And like, now you're seeing that true belief in him going out there. And at the end of the day, you just got to approach it as it's one kick at a time. And when you approach it with that mindset, like, shoot it, next thing you know, the entirety of the season, it looks really good. And that's what he's doing right now. He's living in the moment. He's dominating, and we just keep sending him out there. Maybe we can send him out there and get a little bit closer. But hey, at the end of the day, it's good to watch.
What are some of the factors that make the numbers be a little bit down offensively last 2 games?
I think we've played some really good defenses. Number one, I know, like, obviously Cal is they do a great job. They got a lot of experience. And so just what they do, they play really hard. And I think in this era of college football, with the iPads and all that kind of stuff, there's a lot of adjustments that defenses can make. And we just got to continue to combat that and keep doing what we're doing at a high level, and just practicing the right way and taking care of those little details. But it just comes down to execution, and just simple things, and doing those simple things at a high level. That's what we got to get back to doing, and we will. We had a great practice today.
Yesterday, Pat had mentioned if there was a vote for most improved that Caleb Junko could get it this year. What have you just seen throughout the season from Junko?
Yeah, again, it's kind of like what I said about Ben. Like, I've seen what he did in the springtime and in the summertime when nobody was watching. And as a specialist, that's the life you live, right? Like, nobody's watching you go out there on Saturday morning in July on your own and kicking a rack of balls and doing your normal stuff. Like, people don't see that, and so for him, like, he's finally seeing the results. But he knew that going into it, because that's who he was all spring and all summertime. And so again, really proud of him too, because it was a guy, that was the whole thing on him when I got here was, man, he's up and down. He's really talented, but man, those lows are here, and his lows are starting to get a lot higher. And he's obviously put together a good streak here in ACC play when it matters the most, which is awesome for him. That shows the true confidence in himself and his belief, and that's what you want to see as a coach.
We talked to him, I think, last week. He said confidence was a big thing for him. What did you kind of say when you arrived to get him, I guess, to be confident?
My thing is just focused on him as a person. They're athletes, but man, they're people too. And I could tell he was kind of a beaten dog a little bit. And he's hard on himself because, again, as a specialist, you're in your own world by yourself, and you're your biggest critic. And so we got to get you to change how you think mentally on everything, right? It's got to start with you, right? I can tell you all I want as a coach, hey, you're really good, because he is really talented. But again, until you go out there and you put that together consistently, it's going to be really hard to develop that belief in yourself. And that's what he's done. He's just attacked every single day, lived day by day, moment by moment. And now, that we're all seeing what he's really capable of. And he's still got a long ways to go in a good way. That he's still at his floor, I think.
You said the other day that Gavin ran a nice route on that second touchdown.
To Pop.
What exactly was Gavin's role in that score?
He's a man beater there. His role is to grab the safety, but also he's a man beater, which that was the coverage. And Gavin did a great job all night running routes. He was crisp. I thought it was the most explosive he was coming off the ball, getting to his depth, being physical at the top of routes. And like I preached to Gavin, you just keep doing that, the ball's going to find you. And sure enough, on the next drive, he has the big conversion there and an 18-yard catch on a dig route. So I think it's just continuing to practice the right way, getting the quarterback quarterback's vision, getting those windows, because it's camaraderie too with your quarterback, you know, and it takes time. And so it was really exciting to see. And the number one thing I love too about that route is Gavin was the first guy to be in the end zone celebrating with Pop, you know, and that's what I love about Gavin. Like he's such a team player. It don't matter. Like he just wants to win, and that's fun to see as a coach. Like you see him flying around and going to chest bump Pop. I think Pop was dancing, so I don't think Gavin jumped in on that one, but.
You call him a man beater?
Yeah, it was a man-beating route. You know, so man-to-man coverage. You know, you go be physical and win. Yes, sir. Yeah. And no crowbars there.
Has there been any point in this season where you've thought maybe, oh, I got to check on Gavin, I got to make sure that he's staying engaged, or does he kind of take care of all that stuff?
No, I think as a coach, you always have to. You know, I mean, we preach relationships. Well, you better have that. You know, and it's one thing to talk about, but you better have that all the time. And so, you know, whether it's just phone calls on the way home at night, you know, sometimes I try not to call them because it's a little bit too late, but, you know, phone calls, just checking in, you know, and just being authentic, you know, like at the end of the day, like a spade's a spade, you know, and no, you know, nobody's happy when the results don't go the way that you may want them to, right? And so you got to approach it that way and just be open with it, like, and just keep practicing the right way. And so for Gavin, it's never been an issue. Like we just have great communication. He's been that way since I've gotten here. He's been open to me, which, you know, I appreciate. He's been here for a long time. He doesn't have to listen to me or take my advice on stuff, but he has, and it's been fun.
Where did the idea come from for the crowbars? Where did you purchase the crowbar?
So yeah, we were talking about prying open the defense, and then like my mind just immediately went to crowbars. So then I immediately texted my wife. I was like, hey, go to Harbor Freight, buy as many crowbars as they have. So she did. She's awesome. So she went and bought all of them, and they were neat because they had said Pittsburgh on them too. It's a Pittsburgh brand. You know, shout out maybe an NIL deal for somebody. But yeah, it was just one of those things. And again, as a coach, like you're trying to give guys visions and you know, ultimately give them you know, exciting learning environments. So it was just kind of a visual for them, like this is what we're going to do, you know, and it had nothing to do with Syracuse or anything like that. Like it was just us doing our job, you know, and that's what we are. We're a lever, you know, and we got to be the more physical lever on every single play.
How many did she buy, and did she haul them all home?
She did well. So it was her and my two boys helping her. So it looked kind of funny with two a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old carrying a crowbar and her carrying 3. But you know, I mean, she's used to that stuff. She's married to me, so.
I mean, do you still anticipate seeing Desmond as a starter on return? Do you think maybe him and Conte will sort of split the time at that spot, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I love where Des is at. He's doing a good job, and he wants to do it, you know, and that's what I love to see. You want your playmakers to want to have the ball in their hands, and so he's taking a big role in that. And he's continuing to grow every single week too, because that's not something that he did a lot of, you know. And so he's getting better and better every single week, and so I'm excited about this last stretch. You know, it's a big stretch, obviously, and excited to have our playmaker back there with the ball in his hands.